And we are back with our first conversation for this morning. And do you want to introduce our guest
Of,
for us?
of course, we have one of our guests is no stranger to Belize. We know Kim Aikman, the CEO of BCCI, the Belize Chamber of Commerce and Industry. And of course, we're also joined by Ms. Petipha Lewis, the chair of Caricham. So welcome, guys. Let's
Thank you.
Ms.
Thank you.
Kim, let's talk about how important this is and the role that Caricham will play or plays in the region.
Caricham is extremely important. About 4 years ago, some chambers in the Caribbean came together and decided that we have the same issues, we have the same synergies that we needed to come together to advocate and for ourselves and learn from each other, and that is how we were born, and we have continued to expand. So yes, I am here as the Belize Chamber of Commerce and Industry, but we are a part of the Caribbean network of chambers, Caricham.
You know, when we talk Chamber of Commerce and Industry, we're talking private sector. And it is on the backbone of the private sector that the country thrives.
Yes.
A country thrives.
Yes.
Let's talk a little bit more about that, because I think for some time now it's almost seen as if though you guys, the private sector doesn't play such a key role, right?
Dwayne, I'm here today to talk about Caricham, but yes, the private sector in any country, I guess there's the old adage, the private sector is the engine of growth. And I think that we're intertwined. We need to be and support each other. The private sector cannot survive without policymakers. Policymakers and the private sector cannot survive without employees, etc. So we're all together, and we all need to. We all play our own role to make a vibrant economy and country.
Miss Lois, let's get you into the conversation a bit.
Petipha is fine.
All right, Petipha is fine. Let's talk a bit about the mission of Caricham. What are the objectives when these CARICOM nations come together, these private sector organizations or entities come together and have these discussions and meetings?
First of all, let me just add, let me say good morning. Thank you for having me. It's an absolute pleasure to be here and to be here with Kim. I just want to add that Kim is also the vice chair of Caricham.
There you go.
There you go.
Yes, recently elected.
Yes, we were both recently elected.
In June. No?
Yes.
That's fairly recent.
That's
Yes.
very recent.
Okay.
So we now have 2 women
Uh-huh.
for the first time.
And what's the length of your term?
It's a year in
It's
the
a
first
year.
instance,
Uh-huh.
but it could be extended.
Okay.
I guess it depends on how we perform, right?
Now, as to the question.
Yes, to the question. As Kim was saying, the purpose of Caricham is to empower and support our chambers. And it's not just to empower our chambers, but the end result is to have a better environment that is thriving, prosperous, sustainable for our people.
Okay.
So it's the purpose of Caricham is to foster that. And we believe that is very important for relationships because we can't do it alone. As Kim mentioned before, we need to work together. So we envision a thriving, prosperous environment where our people could enjoy quality life. And we think that to do that, we need to expand, deepen our relationships, collaborations, and have more stakeholders involved in the whole thing and not operate in silos. So that we see is very important. And my visit here, right, is for Kim and I to look closer at our strategy moving forward, and to deepen our relationship with the Belize Chamber as a very valued member of the Caricham family.
Is this looking at tackling regional issues that are faced by the chambers, or issues of a local nature, or is it both?
It's both. It's both. Because we have a number of chambers who are at different levels in development in terms of their abilities and the resources that they have. So one of the things we do is we share best practices. We assist, we do training. Some people are not able to provide the level of training that they require. So what we do as a collective, whoever has the expertise, we share. And we also work with other partners like the USAID, the European Union, UNDRR, you know, looking at, we have some pillars that we focus on now, like disaster risk reduction, where we have right now, and we're proud to say, on our website, and micro, small, and medium enterprises, which is one of our major focus, simply because between 70 and 80% of micro and small enterprises comprise our economies.
Yeah.
So
It's
if
true.
we are to survive as a people, they need to be successful.
You know, it's interesting that you're saying that, because I wanted to go to, because I'm looking at the strategy and one of the pillars that you guys have, and it talks about disaster risk reduction. And we've seen where the pandemic crushed a lot of small businesses, and some of them shuttered and were not able to reopen, you know, and we're already in this post-COVID era, and you just said it, 70 to 80% of economies, you know, it's small, medium, you know, micro businesses.
Yes.
How do we support?
The thing is this, I mean, COVID was good and it was bad. But yes, some businesses shuttered and were not able to revive, but it also brought out the innovation in a lot of businesses, which, you know, led us to look at other areas such as digitizing. When we do our trainings, COVID taught us we use Zoom. Before COVID, I never knew about Zoom, and I think a lot of other businesses never knew either. So that part of it was good and bad, but in terms of the collective group of the chambers, that's a time that we learned from each other. What are you doing? How did you address this? In your country, what happens with the employees? Are they furloughed? Do you have laws? How do the laws support? So that's the kind of synergy that we have, that we can learn from each other and try to put into practice, you know, the best of those as it suits each of our needs.
Yes, and the resources, I was explaining as we talk about micro and small, we have on our website what we call Center of Excellence, where we have over 100 resources in 5 thematic areas where MSMEs, micro, small, and medium enterprises, could go on the website and use all these resources for free. One of the challenges we have found with these organizations, these companies, is that they don't keep records, proper records. They don't have strategic plans. Basically, it's a challenge for them to get funding from commercial banks. And when we interview them, one of the biggest challenge they say is access to finance. But if you examine it closely, it's not really access to finance. It's not having the records and the history to show that they are somebody that you should invest in. So we have all these resources there that they could go in. We have finance, you name it. You could look at it and they have it that they could use for free. And if any of the members have challenges in terms of some of the material, actually using it, the chambers will facilitate them.
No, I mean, I was going to ask what priority is placed on providing or making access, creating access to financing for these businesses. And I like that you said that a lot of times it's not that they don't have access or isn't access, it's more so that they don't have a lot of the systems in place
Yes.
to gain access. And the truth is, a lot of these small, medium, micro businesses, they're started by individuals who sometimes, like during the pandemic, they got up, they were in one industry, and they say, you know what, we want to start a business. We were employed with somebody, but now we want to be self-employed. And you may not know the ins and outs fully of running a business, of operating a business. So apart from the resources available online, are there sort of like Zoom trainings, online trainings, or in-person trainings where members of the chambers can access and sign up for and have that one-on-one interaction to really learn the nitty-gritty? Some people may be able to, yes, learn through online material resources, while others may actually need that in-person conversation.
I'll respond to that in terms of Caricham and the chambers, and I'd let Kim speak specifically about Belize, right? So you are correct. One of the things during the pandemic, we had quite a lot of training, webinars online, and what we also have is if a member chamber has a training that they're putting on, we share that information with everybody.
Okay.
And everybody gets member discount, right, in the region. And so rather than my chamber putting on the same training, we maximize the resources and we share. And that helps to bring us even closer together. So we share, we have webinars, and we also have a group. We have groups in the chamber in terms of our structure. We call working groups that have responsibility for different things. And one of them is membership value, how we increase our value for our members, how we share best practices and organize webinars and training, etc. Yeah.
And I must say, as you all know, the Belize Chamber does quite a bit of training.
Yeah.
Training is one of our pillars. And as Petipha has said, whenever we are having our trainings are out there on the website, if it's a virtual training, and we've had situations where members of the other chambers have joined. We've had projects. We recently had a climate resilient building project for the construction field, how to build climate resilient buildings, and we had some participation from throughout the region, and because we marketed it through the Caricham network. For Belize, we do a number of face-to-face trainings, because you're right, some people prefer face-to-face, some people prefer virtual, since we now know about virtual. And in terms of the micro members, what our chamber has done, and I'm sure the others have done too, we have opened a tier for micro businesses. We realize they need help to develop their resources.
Yeah.
So we do trainings for them, basic bookkeeping, marketing. One of our bigger members, Marie Sharp, they have provided free marketing training for our members. Especially micro members have taken advantage of that. How do you get your product out there? How do you label? How do you? And so those are things that we as a chamber have done, and collectively we all do too for the region. I think each of our chambers do have trainings there.
Have these chambers been able to, over the years, measure the impact of these trainings? And I ask because I would imagine that with these types of trainings, you would see growth not only in these small businesses, but then it would also result in economic growth on a national scale.
I think that's one of our,
I
we
would
need
say
to.
that we can't now answer for all the chambers, but it's something that we have discussed that we need to measure.
Just
And
study
that
it.
resource, we're going to have somebody assigned to it in terms of helping people and measuring. But to answer your question in terms of individual chambers, I could speak specifically about Grenada's chamber. We have been doing a training called Design Thinking to Develop a Business. So basically what we do is we start from scratch. And we take people who are already in business, these small, and we take them through the process. And it is a eye-opener for them in terms of, a lot of times we have ideas. Like you say, somebody have a challenge, they think of an idea and they want to implement it. But it's an idea they think is a solution for something. But when you examine it closer, you realize you have to analyze first, what is the problem you are trying to solve?
Correct.
So a lot of times we have solutions and we're not even sure of the
What the
problem.
problem
is.
And we think that the solution we have is the solution or the only solution.
Yeah, and
So-
there are other solutions out there
Yes.
already.
And what else is there that somebody could provide? So we take them through that training, and so they understand better. They're able to target better in terms of who are you trying to serve, what is the problem you're trying to solve, right? How do you reach those people, the age group, where, you know, the whole works. And at the end of it, you have a plan, a complete plan that when you go to the bankers, you could defend that plan. Because we go into the product, we go into costing, how you cost. So a lot of it, what we have found that some of the business support organizations would assist these businesses by preparing a plan for them. And then when they go to the bank, they can't really defend the plan. Or if they manage to defend it, they put it on a shelf afterwards, right? Because the purpose of it was to get the money.
And they weren't involved
Yes.
intimately in creating
Exactly. So in this method, you are. So you understand why you have to do what you have to do, and so you would use that plan.
It's really like proposal writing, and I think that is something that not only, well, we've seen it in Belize where a lot of persons, they lack that, and so they can't get access to finance because these people want you to show clear cut what it is that you're going to do, how you're going to get it, and all of that. And so I know that next month there's going to be an investment summit. And one of the things that they're talking about is you need to make sure that you're able to get to these IFIs and
Yes.
get these people to invest in your business so that it can grow, so that it can, you know. And so talk to us about that. Does this then prepare them for that, or like project writing kind of finish?
I think though, before we get all the way to project writing, we have to get them formalized, get them registered, keeping the proper books. As Petipha said, those are things that whenever you're going to any donor, any IFI, any institution, they want to see
like the
what
track record
your
of
track
them,
record, your books, your plan, your projections, everything. So those are the kinds of trainings that we try to get them to think about before, you know, moving out to the IFIs. You have to really think internally, what do I want? What am I trying to solve here?
And then, you know, one of the things too is that sometimes these small businesses, there are only 1-2 persons to run it. Or it's in the family. That it's not, that you have 5, 6, 10 employees to work along with you. And so it's that level of support that you guys are providing as well. Right?
And when you have to take the time from that business to go to a training, they see it as, oh, I am, you know, and it is, it is a real challenge. What I have found in Belize though, and I am really happy about it, our micro businesses help each other.
Yeah,
They
that's
really
so true.
help each other, they
That is
support
true.
each other. I'll digress a little bit for Belize. We had a Made in Belize Expo for
I
argument's
remember,
sake.
yes.
And we had one micro business, Cash Expressions, who said, okay, I can't only go by myself. I will try to help
Support.
other people.
Yeah.
And she ended up helping quite a number of other small businesses
Register,
to
right?
Yeah,
pay for their boots.
yeah.
So that, I think, is admirable. We had businesses who, one uses elderberry to make that kombucha
Yeah.
or whatever. And the other one said, okay, give me some and I'll make gluten-free muffins.
Nice.
And so they work
So, yeah,
together
yeah,
and
yeah,
try
yeah.
to help each other and complement each other. And I think that's something that we will continue to foster.
I love that.
Just to add to that point, one of the things that we have been encouraging is sharing. Now you hear people talk about finance, and they always think that you need to have money.
Yeah.
They have skills, they have expertise, they could barter, right? Somebody good at marketing, you could help this person.
Yeah,
You
then they
good
help
at,
with
and they
another
help with
area.
another
Yeah,
area,
exactly.
right? So we have to find ways of working together. For too long, we have to break that chain. We have to break that is holding us back in terms of operating in silos.
Yeah.
We like to keep everything close to our chest. Listen, there's no new idea, you know. All the ideas are out there. So what are you protecting? You know, share, learn from each other. And what we find with the training, sometimes we have hybrid because of the challenges that you mentioned. But when people get together and they start to share, when some ideas somebody else have to improve your product that you didn't think about. You can't always think about competing.
Yeah.
It's about how we could find ways of
together.
working together.
You say that, and what jumped in my head just now is, does it then help with maybe trade? Does that help there? Because obviously there are 24 countries, member countries.
25.
25? No,
Yes.
no, yeah, no. One came on this week. Yes.
25
know.
member countries, you know, and it's about, hey, I
Bridging
might
those
have
gaps.
something that you need in your country, and so, okay, we will talk to our policymakers and see how we
Yeah.
can get that trade permit to
CH.
trade with
Listen,
you, right?
all kind, it's everything with mushroom.
Right.
For
Yeah.
example, what you're talking about, we had a B2B virtual trade mission, and we had members participating, different room to go, you showcase your products and whatnot. And I remember after, I mean, the time was for cut off, but people were
People didn't
chatting,
want to, right.
continuing, and the contacts that were made,
Of
and
course.
people were calling after, I need a contact for this person, I want rice, I want this, I want shrimp.
Nice.
And I remember Anil, who is our past chair, he said, Petipha, I didn't know Grenada had nutmegs. I didn't know you had spices.
Land of
I didn't know you
nutmegs.
have all these things. You know,
Yeah.
so it's
And then you can
awareness.
and then it would be cheaper too, because it's
Yeah.
regional.
Yes.
Yeah, you don't have
Yeah.
to get it from
Outside,
outside of the block.
Yes.
Exactly, right?
Yeah.
So it's better,
Yes,
and then you have
yeah.
all these tariff exemptions, all of these things. So it
And
makes
relationship,
Aha.
relationship. I know you.
So I
I
prefer
prefer to
from
buy
trade with
from
you
you,
and buy from
even
you.
though
Exactly.
it's a little more expensive.
Well, one of
Yeah.
I think one of the greater challenges within the region when it comes to doing businesses is shipping
Yes.
and
the logistics.
transportation,
Well, from the Belize
logistics.
side, yes.
Well, on the Belize side, most definitely,
We are all the
because
way west.
within the
I know,
Caribbean,
yeah.
it's a bit easier. But now that we have a Belize vice president, we could lobby for making that much
I
easier,
like that.
correct?
I love that.
We, even before you had a Belize vice
Yeah.
chair, we have been looking at the logistics, because shipping within the Caribbean
Yeah.
is, as you know, for us,
Challenge.
it's challenging. But we can, you know, we have been and we will continue to advocate for that.
All right, so with that, can we have some final thoughts or final words from both of you as we move forward and look forward to the wonderful work that this amazing team will do in the year to come?
I believe that organizations such as Caricham is the way to go. We're living in a global society, and as Belize and as the rest of the Caribbean, we have to look at our identity, our people, and move forward to better life for all of us in the region. So that's my parting words.
I think Caricham is Caribbean. Is Caribbean, and our motivation is for a better Caribbean for our people and for our children and our grandchildren. And I think it's very important for us to do things differently, right? We have a past, we look at our past, we look at our successes, our failures, and we have an opportunity right now to get it right. And we could only do that by working together. And we all need each other. One put a hand, we put a hand, and we make it happen. And I think that Caricham is for, not just for business. We're using the method through business, but it's for everybody. It's ultimately for our people. And we look forward to widening our network in terms of partnerships and stakeholder engagement. And we look forward to great things from Caricham.
Awesome.
All right. Well, ladies, thank you both so much for joining us this morning and having this wonderful and insightful conversation. It's been a pleasure.
Yeah.
It's our pleasure. Thank you very much.
Yeah,
For having us.
that's the Caribbean Chamber of Commerce. You can contact them as caribbeanchambers.net. Yeah.
All right. So with that, we'll take a break. And when we come back, the conversation will be steers towards BEL Safety and Health Week.